up conversations around you, so just be mindful of that as you're meeting with neighbors this evening. We start our agendas with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll go ahead for those who are able to rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll put a plug if you know of any local troops, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, veterans, anyone that you would like to lead the pledge and invite them, they're welcome. We'd love to have more neighbors leading it each month. I will also make a brief note that Commissioner Nutter and Commissioner Lee Osborne are both excused absences this evening. We do have a quorum, so we can still take action on zoning. We are short an additional commissioner for District 4, which is currently vacant, and we'll have an update on that later this evening. The only addition that I have to the agenda is that after our updates from the city, we will add an update. I apologize that we left off Elections Committee Chair Melissa Dahl to give an update on that District 4 election. Do other commissioners have updates to the agenda we're reviewing tonight? Is there a motion to approve the agenda? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Great. We'll kick it off with district updates, starting with Commissioner Moritz.
The only update I have is that I'm participating in the training by the city attorney's office. It's a refresher on
You didn't need a refresher. Your minutes are excellent. Thank you.
Drew Miller, District 9.
Commissioner Hively.
Josh Hively, District 8. Nothing district specific, but I did make it out to the zoning meeting last week.
Great. I was trying to look up the name. My Brittany Bolton, District 5. My update was that I attended the ribbon cutting that Clintonville Area Business Association put on for the newest business in the neighborhood. I see Mandy Minnick, who's on the board. Can you remind me the name of the new reclaimed wood space?
Hardwood.
Creative Hardwood. Thank you. So please check them out if you haven't yet. They're in the old Almond Iron space, right near the farmers market and Donato's and all that fun excitement on High Street. Commissioner Wada.
Hi, Paul Lott of District 1. I attended the City Attorney Safety Meeting the other day, hosted by, or emceed by Christopher. It's kind of nice. Learned a lot of stuff, met some people. Our district is organizing a block watch for East Tulane Road. We have an organizational meeting on February 27th at the Crestview Presbyterian Church on East Tulane. Also, constituents reached out about AEP tree trimming based on the Columbus Underground article, and I contacted the city forester who put me in touch with someone at AEP, and basically they're not clearing all the trees for the article. The article was kind of insinuating, so that's good to know. If anyone wants to know more about that, just ask me afterwards.
Commissioner Wyman.
Mike Wyman, District 7, nothing to report.
Commissioner Moritz prepared and circulated the meeting minutes from our January meeting. Are there any additional comments from commissioners or edits for the January meeting minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thanks, Commissioner Moritz. Commissioner Miller, you are still technically our treasurer. We'll get to that formally a little bit later, but did you have anything else to report this month?
Nothing to report.
Okay. We'll go ahead and invite our representatives from the city to share updates. Stacy, would you like to kick us off this evening with Department of Neighborhoods?
Yes, thank you. I did send some updates, I believe yesterday, so that you have some minutes and then you can have just a preview. But I'll go over those now in case you have any questions. So for the budget, I attached 2 budget documents. One was for January 1 of this year to April 10 of this year. And that was supposed to be just kind of filled out and approved in this meeting. However, if that does not happen, because literally I sent them to y'all when I got them, which was like last Friday. So that was really short turnaround. So if we need to do that next month, that is fine. And then you had a second one that covers an entire year from April 10th of this, May of this year, May 1st this year to April 10th of next year. And so that is supposed to be completed and approved by majority vote on next month. But again, if you vote this month or if it's prepared for this month to be approved, that's fine too. And I do see there's some flyers here. The Board of Revision is holding mobile filing events through March 31st, and these events are held in person to answer questions regarding property values and assist homeowners in filing a complaint if they believe that their values are incorrect. And I don't know who made those copies, but thank you, that is awesome. There, right? And then our next training is the Area Commission's 101 training, which is Saturday, February 22nd. 9:30 to 11:30 at the Near East Side Pride Center, which is on East Broad, close to the conservatory. This can be like really nice refresher information if you've been around for a while. You know, it's kind of like, let's refresh and make sure that we're doing what we're doing. Or if you're brand new, which no one here is just yet. It covers meetings, best practices, elections, conflict of interest, and budget, and RSVP stats. So that's it.
Thanks so much. Any questions from commissioners for Department of Roads? Okay, I see a question from the public.
Just a question, I know this is a treasurer's department, city treasurer's issue, but why did property tax bills come out so late this year?
I do not have the answer to that question. I would actually go to one of those meetings if you'd like in person.
Well, I'm just
Or
curious.
contact the auditor's office.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we do have the auditor's office on our agenda tonight, and I'm sure if they don't have the answer, they can help follow up after. Any other questions for Ms. Patel? Thanks so much for being here. I know we've got the city attorney's office as well.
Good evening, Commissioners. Christopher Clark, City Attorney, Zone 4. I don't have any updates besides it was really nice to see Commissioner Lotto at the update 2 nights ago. So thanks for being here.
Any questions for the city attorney's office from commissioners? Any properties coming up in your districts? Any questions from neighbors? Great. Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Next up, I think we've got city council back there as well. Good evening. How's it going?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Suzanne Chow. I am one of the community engagement analysts at City Council, so I actually have a lot of updates. First, we do have a new council member. Councilman Otto Beatty III will be serving District 7 until the end of this year, and then his seat will be on the ballot in November, but he will be finishing out former Councilman Faber's seat and term on council. So that is exciting. His first meeting will actually be this upcoming Monday. And then after that, we will not have any city council meetings until March 3rd. So we'll be in a short recess in between next week and March. Next, for February, it is Black History Month, so I would love to invite all of you to celebrate it with us at council next week on Tuesday, February 11th. We have a minority business certification open house through the Ohio Department of Development. So if you know a minority business owner that wants to get that certification, this is a great time for them to go and ask questions. This will be from 4:30 to 5:30, and the event itself will begin at 6 with doors opening at 5:30. So we have wonderful Poindexter Award winners, and this year's theme is African Americans and labor. So we're gonna really look forward to the show, and it's gonna have a poetry performance and a keynote speaker. It's gonna be a great time, so everybody is welcome. And I also have the flyers. I'm just gonna leave them on this table. Next, I wanted to announce that the Commission on Immigrant and Refugee Affairs application has officially dropped. It will only be open for another week. That application is due on February 16th at midnight. So if you know someone who represents an immigrant or refugee community here in the city and would like to serve on this committee, we are looking for 15 individuals. One of them would be a person aging from the range of 18 to 25, as well as anyone else from the community who identifies with these groups. And you would be serving 2 to 3 year terms based off year acceptance. So if you know someone or are interested, please feel free to visit our website at columbus.gov/IRA Commission. It's also on our social media and all Columbus City Council platforms. Next, I wanted to announce that Council has rolled out Phase 2 of the Columbus Promise. This is an initiative that City Council has been doing as a public and private partnership with several organizations to invest $25 million into the education of our young people. So the first phase began from 2021 to 2024. It was 3 years and helped increase the college going rate to 50% in the city of Columbus, as well as increasing college attendance by 32% from 2020. And this is essentially just a way for someone who wants to go to college. They have to be a CCS student and eligible to enroll in fall term and I believe spring term and wants to go to Columbus State. That tuition would be covered for them through this program. So if you know someone, this will be really great for them. And of course, information would be on our website. They can also just Google Columbus Promise and all of that will pop up for them. And then, again, for our young people, if you know someone who wants to do an internship program that pays $17 an hour, which is really good and a lot better than anything I ever got paid as an intern, City Council is accepting our our summer internship cohort currently. That deadline is February the 28th. And this is just a great way for someone to build some resume experience for the government and do their civic duty. So that is also on our website, columbus.gov/council internship. And last thing would be a save the date for our Saluting Women Who Serve event. This is a Women's History Month event, which is the month of March, coming out of the Office of Councilman Day Alcoward. This will be on Thursday, March 20th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the National Veterans Memorial Museum. We'll have more details closer to the event, so by the next meeting, I'll have more flyers to pass out to you guys. But stay tuned to our social media and our website to get more details on that. And with that, I will take any questions.
Any questions from commissioners? Yeah, Commissioner Wyman.
The Disability Advisory Committee, how do you get on that?
That is a good question. I will have to get back to you on that.
I know that the Community Relations Commission is also looking for more folks who have experience with disabilities. If you're interested in that, feel free to let me know. Any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from neighbors? Great. Thanks so much, Ms. Michelle. So many updates.
Yeah, I'm
Appreciate
sorry.
it.
I always come in with a.
No, it's great. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Any other city representatives I've missed this evening? Okay. Then we will kick it off to Chair Melissa Dahl of our Elections Committee. We're very excited for a District 4 elections update.
Thank you very much. So very quickly, we are having an election. The election is Saturday, February 22nd, 10 to 2 here, and early voting is Tuesday, February 18th, 6 to 8 p.m. here. 2 candidates have been certified, Amy Jurgensen here and Angela Saucer. And the deadline for writing candidates to submit their packets is tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and if they do submit, they have to be certified as well. So any updates on that would be on the Facebook page and CAC website.
10 to 2 on the 22nd?
10 to 2.
I know that your committee is in a little bit of transition. Do you have volunteer needs that day?
Possibly.
Okay.
We have 2 other folks on the committee right now. I knew I could reach out to you, or actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll let you know. 1 or 2 people.
If you need extra people, just let us know and we'll try. I don't know if it could be a commissioner, but we could solicit.
No,
Okay.
as long as they're not running for election.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
No conflict.
Great.
Thanks for the offer.
Thank you. Were there any questions among commissioners for Chair Dahl? Did you have a question, Chris?
Not a question, but I have a small update.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This area has not had a community liaison officer since October. The way to get a community liaison officer is to contact police, specifically Chief Bryant is in charge of appointing those. So contact her office and we can probably get one sooner than later.
We would love that. Great, thank you for that update. stray flyer every year.
So Stacy already did my job, Stacy already did my job, so I might as well go home. How's everyone doing tonight? Good. So yeah, I'm Hugo Berrigan, I'm the new community outreach coordinator at the Franklin County Auditor's Office. It's my first time being here, so hi. So we have a slide, but I promise I'll go quick. So just like Stacy pointed out, the Board of Revision is taking in complaints because of the evaluations. So the big thing right now is that we are accepting it, and you have up until March 31st to do it. If you guys don't know, obviously, you could have documents just like sales document, appraisals, photos, comparable sales, income and expenses statements. Now, you don't need to have all of them. If you have, for example, just a sale document, and that's it, but you have everything else, or just photos, you're more than welcome to use it. It just helps your case when you go in there to mediate it. But then you can only do it once every 3 years unless the following things that happen, which is a property transfer, improvements were made, casualty to property, 50% occupancy were changed, or if the auditor changes your valuations. Like I said, mostly you have until March 31st. Those are kind of like the ways that you'll be kind of going through it, the steps. But auditor knows how it's difficult and it's also time consuming. So the next slide, we have what we call the mobile filing events, which is basically the Board of Revisions team will be at a specific library. For example, we have one here the 27th from 3 to 7 p.m., which is essentially to walk in, any questions, and if you even want to file on that day, you're more than welcome to just walk in. You're also more than welcome to come to any other one. So, for example, if you just find yourself at Whitehall, for example, and you want to just ask a question, you're more than welcome to pop in, and then later come to this one a couple days later. So, we want to see you, want to see your friends, your families, your neighbors, whatever. And then another update is the homestead exemption. Obviously, for the first seniors and disabled citizens, you're gonna get the first $28,000 of whatever your valuation is. So for the example that they use is $100,000 valuation, you get the first $28,000, so it comes out to $72,000. And then you also have the enhanced homestead exemption, which is just for disabled veterans and surviving spouses of public service members who unfortunately died in the line of duty. You get $56,000. So if you go back to that same example, $100,000 minus here, it would make it to the $44,000 valuation. Yeah, so like I said, how to apply, you're more than welcome to go on the website. You're also more than welcome to just reach out to us and definitely send you the application. Or like I said, if you guys are down there with us, sometime you find something downtown, more than welcome to just hop in. We'll probably even help you do it at that time. So, but like I said, both of them, and all of them are mostly done. You have to get them done by December 31st. So at the end of the year, basically. And then we have dog licensing. Obviously you had until January 31st to get your dog license, but they allowed us to extend it, so now it's due February 28th. If you just miss the date, so for example, if you just buy it on February 29th, just a small fee will be added to it, but other than that, you have until that day to do it. And then you get the selection of 1 year, 3 years, or permanent. Obviously it's cheaper to get the permanent one, but if you decide to do that, there's different variations. They don't really tell you this, but there's different variations. If you get your dog neutered or spayed, it goes from like $18 if they're neutered or spayed, and if they aren't, it's going to be $35. Just let you, just kind of give you that update. But like I said, same thing with the homestead. You're more than welcome to call us. wanna walk it to, ask us to ship it to you, no matter the ask, that'll help you guys. And if you also have a dog, like I said, we're also looking to do a spotlight of the week for a dog, so if you have a picture of your dog, just send it over to us and we're more than likely put it on Facebook or anything like that. And so we are also doing a new thing called the Community Connects, which is we're gonna be around Columbus, around Franklin County, and just like the Board of Revisions, all of our team will be at this one event. So you can come down and ask questions. So obviously Board of Revisions, community outreach, policy, everything will be at that time. We'll be there for you guys to interact with them. So yeah, so these are the big, essentially the big events that we're having. So Affordable Housing Fair will be it's the closest one, so it's gonna be on March 8th, and then Shred Hunger, May 10th. Like I said, the auditor really loves to see and hear from everybody. So any event that you guys decide to come in, you're more than welcome to give us updates or anything like that. Kind of going back to the homestead, to kind of put it out there. That comes from the state, and the auditor has been very diligent on like making sure that we all get enough. So that the prices that we get comes from the state, and we would love to kind of hear more from you all to kind of help us advocate to give you at least a little bit more than what they're giving us. So I'm more than happy to take any questions.
Regarding the triennial evaluation, I went through about a 15-month process with the auditor's office, which actually ended with a meeting with the Board of Revision. And at the outset of this discussion, I asked if anybody else sees mystery in how these things are done. I asked the auditor's office and an auditor, all I wanted them to do was show me the math. Sit down, show me the sampling, show me the mathematics of how you got to my property updated valuation. That never happened. They said it was proprietary information because an outside company does this.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I ended with the Board of Revision, and I think they just kind of gave up. I think I wore them down, and they just relented and gave me what I wanted. So I shut up. However, I continue to be mystified that the auditor's office cannot sit down with me or any of you or other you people, and on a piece of paper, take that sampling of houses, which they gave me the sampling, but I asked them, how did you get from that sample of sales to my valuation? Well, that's proprietary information, we can't tell you.
Yeah.
So maybe sometime you can come to a meeting and do a presentation and show how sampling is done and how a triennial valuation update is done, because I think it's a very flawed system. Remarkably, in my neighborhood, sampling of houses of about 30 houses, all my immediate neighborhood here on Old Hazy Boulevard, 10 of those houses values went down. And that's just, I don't know how that happens. And these houses are all in really good shape, and so their triennial valuation actually declined. So I don't want to prolong this any further, but the bottom line, it's mystifying, and it seems, until I can get a better explanation, it seems rather flawed.
Is there a question, or did you?
Well, can somebody come and do a presentation and show how a triennial valuation of somebody's house is done?
Yeah.
I actually think we have had auditors from Indiana out over the years to go through the process, so we could.
Well, they do. They say we take a sampling of the houses in your neighborhood that's sold in 2022, and based on those sales, we update. But they don't show you the map. They don't show you how they took those samples of housing sales and got to your valuation. They have not done that.
Yeah, I'll be sure to relay it to them. I appreciate it. Anybody else?
Do you know what qualifies as a disability when it comes to exemption?
You said what qualifies as a disability?
Is there
So from what I've seen, it's just like, if you just say, like, because of, if you are disabled essentially, I guess, you know, they would kind of go through the process during the application. But I'm not sure 100%. And if you want, I'm more than happy to reach back out.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you have to have like file for state disability or if it's.
Oh, yeah, I'm not 100% sure of which, like how the process really goes. All I know is that when the application comes through, they would essentially walk you through essentially what you would need, when it comes to that.
And I think they have to use the state Ohio Revised Code definitions probably,
Yeah.
because that is a state law. So that might spell it out as well if you just search the ORC. Any other questions for the auditor's office?
Do you have a business card?
So I actually don't, but don't worry, I'm more than happy to run out and get one.
Very responsive on email.
Yeah.
I think I have your email address actually. If you don't mind, I'll forward it to the other commissioners. Great. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Last month, we were able to elect 3/4 of our slate, but our commissioners that were in attendance in January decided to hold until this month because we think that Commissioner Miller has done a great job as treasurer, and we all agreed that we would love him to stay in the role, but we didn't feel comfortable electing him in absentia. So I would like to make the motion tonight that Commissioner Miller be reelected as our 2025 Clintonville Area Commission treasurer. Is there a second tonight? Second. All right, Commissioner Moritz.
Yeah.
Commissioner Miller.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hiley. I'm obviously a yes. Commissioner Latta.
Yes.
Commissioner Wyman.
Yes.
Thank you for being willing to continue to volunteer in that capacity. Do you have any comments about your experience as treasurer you'd like to share or anything?
No, but I am excited to lift the budget that was shared, and we should definitely add that as an agenda item next month.
Perfect.
I think we should have more discussion around, utilizing the budget each year, if we have money available. And, definitely letting our committees know too that if, you know, if we have allowable expenses that are gonna benefit them, we should be using them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Our next item, a bit administrative, is the approval of our committee rosters that our various committee chairs have put together. Thank you all. I know it was a brisk turnaround to get outreach out to all of your existing committee members and do outreach for filling slots. I would love to start with Chair Hardwick because I think he was really instrumental in creating a timeline that was just, I appreciated so much being able to apply that across our committees, which is just have things be even and transparent. So if you would like to share, I've got your roster here. If you wanted to just speak about who's planning to serve this year and who you recommend to us.
And everyone who's currently serving decided they wanted to sign up for it again. We have, among them, we have an engineer, a landscape architect, a realtor, 2 former commissioners, someone with construction management background, affordable housing work for someone that does affordable housing work for nationwide children's, trying to keep that neighborhood from gentrifying completely. I think people work well together. We disagree. There are people who we disagree with each other, but it's a lot of the times what we do. But I like that. Pretty special shout out to Michael Ha, that puts together the minutes and has served as my backup. And I very much appreciate his work.
Thank you. And we do have bios for each of these currently serving volunteers. I sent those along to the commission last month. Are there any questions from commissioners for Stephen for Chair Hardwick about his committee roster he's proposed? I will move that we approve the slate of volunteers on the Zoning and Variance Committee put forward by Chair Hardwick. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Moritz?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Hiley?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Latta?
Yes.
Commissioner Wyman?
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time to put that together, and thank you to all the volunteers who are participating in zoning and variance.
Yeah, as long as you shout out me for the processes. Commissioner Wyman who pushed to make it,
Great point.
to make it this one.
been a long-standing campaign of Commissioner Wyman's to make this a good process, so deeply appreciated. Next, let's go to, actually, let's go to elections next. Chair Dahl, if you don't mind
Yeah,
coming back.
didn't bring the bios with me.
I have them.
Oh,
I have
yeah,
them, yes.
it's actually the current committee, so it's Jan Patton, who has been on committee since 2018, longtime 20-plus year Clintonville resident, really loves Clintonville, wants to be supportive of the community, he's a great participant. And then Sarah Snyder, who has been on the committee most recently since 2023, and she also was a prior chair of the committee, and also a long-term Clintonville resident. So I've worked closely with both of them and highly recommend both. And we would love to have 2 more members if they could. If we could
2 more members needed
Yes.
on the elections committee. I can't say it loudly enough. And the meeting, I think, Chair Dahl, it's helpful to know for folks the time commitment. It really revolves around the annual election cycle, and then special elections obviously have popped up this year, but don't always.
Right, and then once a year we meet to look at the rules for the upcoming year, the election rules.
So it's not an intensive
Not
time
intensive.
commitment for committee members.
Yeah.
So even if you're not of interest in this, if it's something you could bring back to your neighbors, we do want to make sure we've got a full committee to make sure our elections keep running smoothly and fairly. So I appreciate that Jan and Sarah want to continue serving, and I appreciate both of their professional experience in this space. So I would love to move that they continue serving and that you continue. Obviously, you've already been reappointed as chair, but I'd love to move to approve the roster you put forward. Is there a second? Okay. Commissioner Moritz.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Heigley.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Commissioner Lotta.
Yes.
Commissioner Wyman.
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting that together, and we will continue to promote on the Area Commission website and social media as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the green team. I know we've got one of the co-chairs, Ryan Foshi is here. Would you like, I know you've got a great roster put together. I think primarily folks are all returning, is that right? We got a couple
Most
new?
folks were on the roster last year. In addition is Dave Botero, that most people know here. Got some folks, we have some more new folks. One's all of them great volunteers and neighborhood leaders in their own right. Michelle leads Friends of the Ravines. She does a lot of work, particularly in Glen Echo, to stabilize the banks and keep our ravines a nice place to be. Lynette works at the Governor's Mansion in the Heritage Gardens, and has an active project at Yellow Springs Brewery. There's a new public pollinator garden there at Yellow Springs Brewery that she started up. Becca Obester, or Becky, she's neighborhood project leader, and let's see, Heather Bell works at Franklin Park Conservatory, does a lot, and a great cook, by the way. And then Alejandro Ross is our youngest committee member. He's new. He's at AmeriCorps. He served in AmeriCorps, which is a program that takes on a lot of different kinds of projects, but it's a lot of hard work, frankly. A lot of it's stuff like getting out and planting fields full of trees. But he's a great addition too. So yeah, we have a great committee this year, and we'll need a lot of folks on our committee in order to pull off things like Columbus Arbor Fest, Moon Festival, and Let's Name Park. We're coming back for year 2. That's August 23rd, by the way, this coming year, or this year now, 2025. Saturday, August 23rd, 12 to 5 p.m. It's a little bit longer this year because everyone wanted it to be longer. That's it.
I'm putting it in my calendar, I'm not texting. Excellent, well, thank you so much, and this did go out to the full commission, so everybody hopefully had a chance to review it. Are there any questions from commissioners about the roster and green team? Great, I will move that we approve this wonderful roster that Ryan and Annalise put together. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Commissioner Moritz.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Heigley.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Commissioner Lotta.
Yes.
Commissioner Wyman.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, and congrats on your committee. And finally, we have our Planning and Development Committee. I believe Eliza, Chair Kim upstairs. Yes, you're right in front of me. I apologize.
I need a haircut.
No. Thanks so much for being here. Would you like like to share a little bit about your roster?
Yeah, so we have a mix of planners, engineers, advocates, interested parties, lawyers, and everybody is looking for ways to advance some of the concepts that we had in our CIP recommendations last year that remain on that list and aren't being or haven't been adopted as projects yet. And then also we've got some updates for transportation related projects in the community, but if anybody else is interested, please let us know. But we will be focusing on ideas centered around slowing down cars, improving safety, looking for ways to possibly work with the farmers market and get some more space allocated for pedestrians and such. So that's what we're really working on this year.
And I know you had mentioned, I just removed Janice and Jody.
A couple people
rolling
did
off.
want to pull out just for personal reasons and time commitment reasons.
And I know, because this comes up sometimes, we have one person, I don't have that address.
I don't have his address. I believe he's in, you know where he lives.
Western Road.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Are there any questions from commissioners for Eliza about the roster she has? I'll move that we approve the 2025 roster for planning and development, and I'll just note, Chair Pendexter made the point that if folks want to join, they can. Zoning and variance is really the committee that we have to have a specific number of folks on for voting purposes, so we're a little bit more flexible with planning and development. So if this is something of interest to you, just reach out to her after the meeting. Okay, I'll make the motion. I apologize. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Moritz?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Hiley?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Commissioner Olada?
Yes.
Commissioner Wyman?
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, and thanks for putting together a great roster and for all the research and work that you all do.
Sorry for the delay.
No, it's great. Got everything together in time. So just to review, we definitely need 2 more folks on elections, and we are in deep need of a tech and PR chair. The social media and website is currently, I'm the only person updating, and it looks terrible, and I would love help. So please, if you know of somebody who is who enjoys that work, would love to meet them and get them involved. Okay, our next update is around traffic calming. This is something that Commissioner Lee Osborne has been leading. Obviously, she's not here tonight, but I did want to share we have a meeting tomorrow with Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. So thank you to Suzanne for helping us really advocate with council to try to get something on the calendar. So that's tomorrow at 11. So we should have a more concrete update next month once we've had a chance to talk to her. Do other commissioners have updates on this topic specifically?
I do.
Yeah.
The city is planning a road guide for East 5th Avenue between High Street and 5th Street. They're taking it from 4 lanes down to 3, just for a traffic calming kind of thing. So I thought about that, and I looked up some numbers, excuse me, on Warpsy. And that section of East 5th gets 14,000 cars a day. North High Street between South Broadway gets 16,600 cars a day, so just a little bit more. So in that instance, High Street is 7 lanes wide. So it's just another thing to talk about tomorrow with, other areas in town needing more traffic calming, but why not High Street? That's all I have.
Any comments or questions from the public? I know we've got a few folks here who come regularly to meetings with traffic concerns. We'll continue to keep this on our agenda moving forward. I think it's a top priority for all of us. So we look forward to sharing a report out from our meeting next month, and absolutely would love to engage P&D committee more as we're working with council.
Yeah, last year we had a evaluation of High Street for streetscape and safety as potential CIP projects. We talked about it at our last meeting. There is some data we can pull to identify spots on the high injury network, make some recommendations, look at volumes. Generally speaking, if you're under 22 or 20,000 vehicles for 24 hours, it could be eligible for a road diet. I also know it's on the Bike Plus network as a potential, a corridor that they're looking to add bike amenities, and that would be another opportunity to use up some of that space and get fewer vehicular travel lanes. So we intend to keep High Street on the CIP recommendations that we present to this group, to keep the focus on it. I know there's been some discussions about reducing the posted speed as well, with the central business district concept where you can have 25 miles per hour. Historically, the public service department has been hesitant to do it without doing it in combination with a design project that changes driver behavior, because otherwise it's an enforcement issue, and if it doesn't get enforced, it doesn't really reduce the speed by just signing it. But yeah, that would be great to look at excess capacity.
One thing maybe I misunderstood, but there's a traffic study planned for High Street, north and west, from here up to, I think, Henderson. And I think they were gonna narrow the lanes first, somehow, with just paint.
Yeah, sometimes they can just stripe a narrow lane. If it's 12 feet, they might take it down to 11 or 10 feet, which can also influence drivers, make them feel less safe to go fast.
And I guess I hope to get some more clarification on that tomorrow with the call, but I'd be very interested to see how that works.
Yeah, I would too, because buses already come out a little bit because of the sidewalk being right there, and it's narrow. I don't know if I'd want to push buses any further out into
A lot of
travel lane.
A lot of times they'll keep the outside lane 12 and narrow up the inner lanes if they can, because the buses do really prefer to have a 12-foot lane. It's also US 23, so there's some waivers with
Not this part.
not this section.
Yeah,
Okay.
north of Morse.
Yeah, sometimes they have to coordinate with, public safety and fire and everything too. So it just depends.
Interesting to see what happens.
We should invite the council member to cross High Street at Brighton and Clinton Heights. On foot.
They did add 2 lead pedestrian intervals, one at Acton, right out here, and then one at Olentangy.
When did that happen?
A couple of months ago, I think. Yeah.
They also had a no turn on red signage area too.
So I would like to see more pavement markings for the crosswalks. Usually when you have a lead pedestrian interval, you also have the ladder striping, the more visible treatment. So I've been following up on that.
That's what they did at Olentangy.
But this one, I think, because it was a decorative treatment many years ago with the cement, it's not as easy to put the reflective paint on it. So I can follow up on that. I did get a sidewalk gap update on the URF project that's on Indianola and Cook. They're still in the design pipeline. They're saying that construction would likely be 2027 to finalize those. That's through the planning division, URF funding. So that's just kind of it's a little bit slower of a process, but they did verify that all the gaps on Indianola and then about a 260-foot gap on Cook is still slated to be filled.
One more. They put out a document too about the project they're going to do on Indianola around the movie theater things. There was no mention of sidewalks.
That one's done under the ODOT resurfacing contract, and it's curb to curb. It doesn't include sidewalks to use that funding. It's just a paving program.
So that was part of the deal when we were discussing that whole project. So how do we?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by part of the deal.
Well, when we were meeting about the bike lanes and the loss of parking and things like that, part of the deal was that they were going to improve the sidewalks.
There were a couple locations where they did have curb damage to a degree where they needed to replace the curb. And in those locations, they're doing slight improvements, but they're not replacing the corridors, sidewalks completely.
There's some areas where there's utility poles right in the spot in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah, that would require a much bigger scope of project to fix that, is my understanding.
Well, that is what the city told us they were going to do, that they were going to fix all those sidewalks, and all that they're doing on that document was the federally mandated curb cuts, which will lead to crappy sidewalks.
Yeah, where they have the retaining wall, they would have to do quite a bit of acquisition of private property, and that wasn't in the budget for this particular project. I do still think there's safety improvement made by the project. It does reduce the number of lanes that people are crossing, and it does add more marked crossing locations. So I do think the overall outcome does improve safety, but I agree the sidewalks are terrible. I live right there. It's hard for me even just walking down the sidewalk to clear some of those sections, but I don't have a way to, it hasn't been incorporated into a CIP project to replace those because the resurfacing funds are different from state.
Perhaps we could bring the city back for a project update in a future meeting.
And one of the challenges too is property owners are not always willing to work through the right-of-way acquisition process. So that's a challenge as well. We'd have to get community support behind it.
I was just wondering, has the intersection at Oakland Park and Main Street come up at all in terms of improving visibility for pedestrian crossing there?
Oakland Park at High Street?
Yeah, like a lot of people park there to go to the farmer's market, and there's a really, the corner there is just not ideal because the light is set way far back behind the building. So like as a motorist, I can't really see the pedestrians if I'm there, and as a pedestrian, I've almost, I mean, like most of the time there's a car that goes into the lane before I can get in. You know, start crossing.
The visibility from Oakland Park or when you're on High Street?
From Oakland Park at the light where you're not supposed to turn right, but people just don't do that anyway. They just go.
There's already a no turn on right sign. Yeah. I can add it to the list of locations.
That's a good place for a pedestrian bump out.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
just look it up.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, excuse me.
A resident that lives near Kelso and High reached out to me regarding pedestrian safety crossing High there. And we submitted a 311 request, and I spoke to the traffic management, and they said that that's going to be a high probability that a lead pedestrian interval will be placed there.
At High and Kelso?
Yes, so that's really awesome. Due to the winter, probably not anytime soon, but in the spring, that they are going to look at that, and he already said, yeah, high probability. Yeah, so that's
Great news. Any other questions or comments on traffic safety and calming this evening? Great, well, we look forward to continuing the conversation next month, and thanks for being here tonight, Chairman Lister. We'll move on to our zoning and variance agenda. Chair Hardwick has 2 items tonight. One is a vote and one is the update on their screening form.
The one variance on the agenda was 24168, 235 Webster Park Avenue. And it's to reduce the required rear yard from 25% to 17% of the total lot area, with the existing yard being 20 feet, 20 and a half feet. We did have, and I abstained because I hadn't looked at the property at the time. I guess 2 things I'd like to point out when I went there. There's lots of 2-story houses, so it would fit there. So that's on the pro side. On the con side, it is a tiny backyard already, a very small backyard already. And the other side of that, some people on the committee were persuaded that part of it will be moved farther. A small part of the house will be moved farther away from the property, not closer to the property. But it is a relatively small variance. The committee voted 7-1 in favor of it, and opposed the abstention. The one negative was because of the neighbor's objection, and it's the neighbor that on the bottom left-hand side of that.
That one?
Yes. Bottom left-hand side, so it's a small lot. I can see why they wanted the house is a forward-facing, for the homeowner house, it's a forward-facing house. You can see there's a park across the street from it. Webster Park is across the street from it. So.
We have photos too, right?
Yes, they're fun. I sent you more photos this week.
You sure did, and I pulled them up.
And I don't know if that neighbor is here to comment.
No, I went over and talked to him.
Okay, then
It's
I'll let you talk. You'll go next. You'll go up next.
I did, oh, yeah.
No, you'll go up next. And we did also strongly encourage him to reach out to the owner, which it sounds like he did. I'll let him report on that. I think that sums it up. It's a small variance. 2-story houses are normal there, but it's a small backyard to begin with. Those are here. And planning and development, and the city staff supported it.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to add anything additional this evening?
So Elizabeth, the architect, is also here.
Great.
I think she can maybe talk about the technicalities, but just wanted to tell you that I'm very happy to be moving into the neighborhood. When I moved to the state, this was the first library I went to. I checked out my first book here, and yeah, just happy to be here and present this project, and hopefully we can get through the approval. Yes. So Elizabeth, you want
Yes, I'm Elizabeth Leidy, the architect. I'm working with Ali Rahimi. This is his first home. When he bought it, he didn't realize how tight the site was. So when we started working together, he did obtain a survey so that we could understand exactly where the property boundaries were, because there were some questions about that, fences and neighbors being so close. There are 2 existing variances, non-conforming conditions on the site. The side yard, we found out, is a little bit over. We are going to correct that with this new addition by moving it over a few inches. And the other variance we're asking for is a non-conforming variance. The rear yard is about 20.5% currently, and we're asking for 17.9% rear yard lot coverage. It will extend a couple 2 feet into the backyard and take up a little bit more of his rear yard. But we did look at several different layouts for this addition. We tried placing, we kind of removed the roof and placed the addition on top of the house, which didn't do the existing lovely house that the owner really likes. It didn't do that property any justice. We could potentially move and build out into the front yard, but again, the existing house is lovely and it proportions really well. So that kind of set us to kind of, just putting the addition above the garage, 2-car garage. And, we hope to complement the house, but not really match the style of it. That was just because when we tried to match the style of the house, it kind of made it look like a little sibling of the addition. So it wasn't really doing it justice because of the 2-story nature of the addition. We're looking at kind of a more modern addition, but that's just to complement the kind of surrounding woodlands, and looking at wood siding to match the existing house. We're trying to scale this to match up with the roof lines and make this more complementary in scale. It lowers, the shed roof does lower nicely towards the back and the neighbors. The windows get smaller towards the rear, and the neighbors, we are really considerate about the views into the neighbor's property. And yeah, the views, and most of the addition is kind of looking out towards the park across the street. Yeah, but we're really, kind of excited to hear if, we want to work with the community and hear if anybody has any questions or concerns, and we will work with you to kind of make something that everyone feels comfortable with.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there questions from commissioners for the applicant or for Chair Hardwick? Yeah, Commissioner Wyman.
That chimney's not a problem with where it's at, next to the roof of the addition?
Structurally or waterproofing or just visually?
It's not a yes.
From fire safety standpoint?
Yeah, it's not a safety hazard.
Oh, the fire. Yeah, we do have to extend that up and out, yes. That is a code, a code requirement that we have to extend the existing fireplace chimney. We are looking at alternative systems and not like having the chimney go to gas or having another system in place potentially because of that. Currently, we're burning.
I'd like to point out that there's 2 city-owned trees out front, nice nice hemlock and a sugar maple,
Mhm.
and just gotta keep clear of those, or else you would have wrath of the city forester.
I live with an arborist, so I will make note of that. We are doing our best to not touch or remove any trees, but there is one that we may be looking at. It is next to the existing foundation, so we're not going beyond that. So it's kind of good that we're not going into that side yard anymore, but there is a possibility. That's the only tree that we could.
Is that the honeysuckle or is it one of the other hedges?
It's one in the front.
Well, the honeysuckle, yes, is that the one?
Next to the
that I-
wheelbarrow there.
Yeah, that one will be removed.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should have a problem with that.
No.
I know there had been, one neighbor who reached out during the zoning and variance process. One thing that we've been trying to encourage folks more and more to do is just to chat with neighbors about projects before we get to this point. So I'm just curious, have you had conversations with that neighbor or any of your other neighbors?
I did. So I spoke to most of my neighbors and no one had any objections.
Okay.
I went over to the person who reached out via email. She was accommodating. She understood the lot is limited and we have a little place to build. So I think she was happy by the time I was leaving. Yeah, so I think she was fine.
That's great, and we don't there's no mandate that there's consensus also or anything like that, but I think it's just the neighborhood thing to do, yeah. Great, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners about this project? Questions from the public? Yeah.
First of all, I don't oppose the variance, but just to go back to these 20%, 17%, it really astounds me that that's really a 2-foot shift in a space that's 10 foot wide, pretty much. I'm pretty amazed that shift is happening. And then secondly, I am a neighbor to the west, but I'm kind of through the woods, so you ignored me, if that's okay. But my concern is, what is the timeline for construction? This part of Webster Park is pretty much an alley. And construction, you're gonna have flatbed trucks, big construction vehicles coming in there over a fairly long period of time. And usually when these things happen about 6 a.m. in the morning, you start hearing beep, 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 beep. Like I get my alarm clock from all the trucks that are pulling in. So what's the timeline of construction for this project?
We're hoping to kind of, we have to get through the City of Columbus variance approval at the end of the month. So before we even start construction documents, we're hoping to kind of break ground in late spring if possible. But yes, it will be a summer construction project. We have worked on projects on alleyways in German Village. We kind of, have to understand that neighbors need to be notified if there's going to be any kind of, hindrance or disruptance to their schedule. Hopefully we work between, normal working hours, contractors, and try not to work on weekends, just to kind of give everyone a fair peacefulness to the neighborhood. But yes, we will be mindful.
Are you the project manager?
No,
Okay.
just the architect.
I will note there are city rules about noise ordinance, and when I had construction done on my home, it was 7 a.m., so a little bit more grace there in the morning.
And I will have conversations with project managers about, how they run this project, if I get as much control as I can have.
Any other questions from the public? Great, are we prepared to vote? Commissioner Moritz?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Hively?
Yes.
Commissioner Lotta?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinman?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. Congratulations on your project and welcome to the neighborhood. See you at the library.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Chair Hardwick, would you like to discuss the screening form?
I think we're just to the way, Michael Hall says he's gonna try to take all our discussions and shield them into an actual form by our next meeting. That's his hope. He's a volunteer, so I want to give him some leeway. Also, just the next meeting, our committee will look at our rules again. And if any of you they're in all the emails that I send out, in the general emails I send out. If you see anything you think should be changed, let me know. I think we may be on the balance of having too many and having it be too complex. But I also, it's a balance of having, I wanna tell people what we do, but I also don't wanna create an addendum to the city code. There's a balance there. If you say too much, it makes it worse. So if you look at it and you see changes, something, especially things that can be taken out, I would be grateful for your opinions, your thoughts.
Message received loud and clear. Thank you. Any other updates from zoning and variance?
No, but not believing, it's not your fault, those are my fault for the way it is.
Great, thank you. I think I saw Leah Lewis in the back.
I'm here, I'm in the building. Hello, everyone, Leah Lewis, Public Affairs, Columbia Gas, Ohio. As everyone knows, we are actively working throughout the community. Right now, we're on 2-lane. I hear the community. I get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls. I read through them all. What I've heard is people are unhappy. We've just been there too long. Unfortunately, I don't have the resolution right now, right? I'm working through different strategies and styles to figure out what works. So I'll continue to put forth effort. What we are going to do is next week on Thursday at 6 o'clock, we'll have a meeting with all the 2-lane residents specifically to address all of the concerns about access, about timelines, about frustrations, all of the things that will take place with my actual construction, like head of construction. So it's time that they come to the table, they hear the concerns, and then we address it that way. I'll continue doing those email updates, and then good news, in case anybody had seen, the Weber site, we finally got that going. And so we're gonna have 4, I take that back, because this library will be packed. It's booked and busy, so we'll have 3 in-person meetings in the month of March. March 7th, March 25th, and March 31st. And those will be specifically for those Weber sites to just, again, listen to the community, figure out what the ask is during the interim until construction begins in 27. And I want to start those conversations now, because as we know, timeline shifts. So if I can have a solidified plan, understand what our budgets are, what that looks like, we can start doing the work as soon as possible. So I will continue to be on the ground. I listen, and I continue to pull in the people that can make things happen. And I know about those trees. And I called the arborist, and he did go on site. Today is Thursday, so he was there on Tuesday. And I sent him an email before I came here tonight saying, hey, what are we doing? And so I'm just waiting to hear back from him, and then I'll look you into that response. So I know you want some answers. I don't have it, but he does in the correct terminology. And so I'm gonna get that information for you hopefully by midday tomorrow.
Thanks.
I know you got something. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't wanna go.
No, that's okay. Did you have more tonight, Commissioner Lotta? Any other commissioners? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you was ask questions. You know what I mean?
No, well, the one thing is they have been there this week, the workers have been out there.
So yeah, we have them texting us every day.
But they only are there for a couple, 3 hours and they leave. So, I mean, they can't get a lot accomplished.
And I know today was severe weather, but they
Then
weren't,
they
weren't here at all today.
Well, and it's been like, what, 3 months that it's sat. There's not even a tarp over to keep it from blowing around the neighborhood.
No, don't worry.
They are horrible.
You said not me, but I've also said. So everything you say, I promise you, as well as Luca. So when I feel like my voice isn't being heard, he is there to amplify it and try to get the work done. So we'll continue.
Oh, I wanted to, confirm those dates. She said the
25th and the 31st?
Yes, the
And
seventh.
March.
Yes, the seventh is 2 to 4.
And here.
Yes, all in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And then next week is for Tulane residents.
Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome to come to that as well.
Oh, yeah, what time?
That's 6 to 7:30.
Oh, okay, no,
No,
sorry,
just
they
our-
are our meetings.
Oh, your meetings will vary, so.
Oh, okay.
But did you get that email from me with the photo?
I might have it
With
too.
PDF?
No, I got one that said that there were going to be 4 meetings, but I don't think they were.
I'll send you the attachments, cause I'm sending it in the mail, but I'll send it to you email. And I'm almost done sending it to the commission, both of those sets.
Great, thank you. Any other, yeah, Chris?
The 7th is from 2 to 4, what about the 25th?
5:30 to 8. And then the 31st is gonna be 7 to 8:30.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Columbia Gas tonight? Thanks for being here, appreciate it. In record time, we are at public comment at 8:07 p.m. Congratulations, guys. I know we had at least one neighbor who wanted to provide public comment tonight. Would you like to kick us off?
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind just sharing your name again for the minutes.
Pardon me?
If you wouldn't mind just sharing your name again for the minutes with Commissioner Mullins.
Sure, my name's Melinda Cogley.
Yeah.
I live, on Gingham Avenue on the Adena River B. And I'm here to give an update about the, rogue deer hunter in Clintonville, who is our immediate neighbor. After this meeting last month, the shock waves that have been going through the community have been amazing. And actually there's been a lot happening. We now have what I'm just referring to as the grassroots no deer hunting or no hunting in the city of Columbus effort, and we're making some progress. It started out, there were about 16 of us on this list. There are now, I think 23 households that are actually formally on the list of, you know, the grassroots effort. So this list was presented, this rogue deer hunter, deer and coyote hunter, he lives to our immediate south. And on December 1st, just for anybody who doesn't know, he knocked on our door to let us know that he was gonna be deer hunting on his property right next door with a high-powered bow from a tree 15 feet up. And my husband and I, you know, our first reaction was, no, absolutely not. And so we let him know, but he let us know he was gonna move forward because the law is on his side. There are no laws against bow hunting in the city of Columbus. There are laws surrounding Columbus in every municipality and every city surrounding Columbus. We believe from the research we've been doing that it's not that it's legal to bow hunt in the city of Columbus, it's just that it's never been addressed and therefore it's not illegal. And we believe it's because nobody has ever tried in the city of Columbus to bow hunt from his or her own property because it's so ludicrous. So he started actively hunting, well, he was target shooting first and then he was actively hunting. He is actually 15 feet up in the back of his property, which is directly across from our bedroom window, which is really comforting to see him in that tree stand. But we have had lots of conversations, lots of visitors. After this meeting, it was suggested, well, at this meeting last month, it was suggested to me to contact the liaison from the Columbus Police, Officer John Brown, yeah. And I had a very long conversation with him, and he said, yes, the law is on his side, but he said he would do a little bit of research and get back with me if he learned anything. Meanwhile, he said, if you see him in the tree and he is actively hunting or target practicing and you feel unsafe, he said, call 911. So we did 4 times. Over the course of the next several weeks, we and a couple of other neighbors who are part of this grassroots effort took turns calling 911. He was very angry about the fact that we were disrupting the hunting that he's allowed to do. The police officers were very accommodating, very sympathetic with our issue, but there was nothing they could do because he's not breaking any laws. talked to him, it disrupted his hunting, so he marched into his house, he was clearly unhappy. He wasn't as unhappy as we are about it. So, you know, that was just one of our techniques. Whenever we saw him in the tree, we called 911. And as I said, the police officers have been very accommodating. We've had, let's see, I had a meeting with Stacy, and she and I got together to talk about the issue, and I know she's working on an effort that I'll let her share when time is right, but there's a lot of research that she's doing that could be very helpful about laws surrounding the city of Columbus and also about the deer problem throughout the entire city, not just in Clintonville, and what people think of it and what people think need to be done about it. So far, I haven't found anybody at all who believes that a rogue hunter is the answer to the deer population. If anybody finds anybody who thinks it's a good idea, please let me know. I would be shocked to hear it. Let's see. Thank you very much for contacting the city, and I think you contacted City Councilman Reamy's office. I had a very long conversation. Actually, I had 2 conversations with his legislative aide, Avery Townsend. She's amazing. She was stunned, as is everybody, as we were talking about it. She just couldn't fathom that this was an issue. She said that she would be working very closely. She had actually heard from a lot of people, and she had actually, let me back up a little bit, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources officer, Mark Williams, we were in touch with him, both my husband and I. He actually knocked on our door a couple of weeks ago just to say hi. He has heard from so many people that he decided he wanted to make a face-to-face introduction. He did warn us that if we do too much to disrupt the hunting activity, it could actually fall back on us because there are laws against disrupting a legal hunter's activity. So, you know, he's in a bow, he's in a tree 15 feet outside my bedroom window with a high-powered bow shooting it at stuff, and if I get in his way, I get in trouble, which I think is backwards, but I'm willing to take the risk. So anyway, he wanted to let us know that we just needed to think about this. So some of the things that we did that kind of got in his way, when I saw him in the tree one Sunday morning, I decided I needed to clean my car. So our lower driveway is right next to where he was up in the tree, so I went down there with the loudest piece of equipment I could find, and I did a really thorough job of cleaning my car, and it disrupted him, and he went in the house. And he was mad, and I was happy. There were a couple of times that he was out in the evening. He liked to go out around 4 or 4:30, so we would have neighborhood happy hour at a fire pit at our lower driveway right outside of his deer hunting stand, and I know there was one time he came out, saw us, went back in, we're thinking, okay, yay. But I will have to say that at 30 minutes after sunset, last Sunday the 2nd, that was the end of bow hunting season, and our road hunter was not able to get a deer from the Adena Brook Ravine, so we're very happy about that. The one thing that I want to tell you about that is really exciting is that I did get a phone call from the Director of Public Safety for the City of Columbus. Her name is Kate McSweeney-Kushadi. She's number 2 to the mayor, so if anything happens to the mayor, she becomes the mayor. She happens to be the cousin of our immediate neighbor on the other side, so that's how we were able to get to her. She, again, was stunned by the idea of a bow hunter within the City of Columbus. When she and I got off the phone, she 10 minutes later called me back, said that she had spoken to City Councilman Reamy, and that the 2 of them were going to work together to figure out what to do, because obviously laws need to be put in place, and they need to be put in place quickly. I have since found out that rather than having to create a new law, she has concluded, research in her office has concluded that one sentence could be added to existing ordinance. And the existing ordinance says yes, you can bow hunt on your own property, but the one sentence that will be added, hopefully, is the property must be a minimum of 5 acres. And that would stop all activity, and that would be for bow hunting and target practicing, which is just as upsetting. And so I have communicated with her this week, and she let me know that City Council is currently working on the budget, but as soon as they have that done, they won't even be able to focus I will then just stay in constant communication with Avery in, the Councilman Remy's office, and I will stay in constant communication with, Kate, the public director, the director of public safety. And hopefully before deer hunting starts, before bow hunting season starts up again in September, we will have this new sentence added to the existing ordinance, and this is no longer an issue. So what this means is a few people with a grassroots level can make change. As crazy as it is that it's even necessary sometimes.
Thank you for the update. Thank you for the advocacy. Are there questions from commissioners for Ms.
Well,
Stockley? Yeah.
I do have a question. What would be your solution? I am a person who has suffered thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in deer damage. So what would your solution be?
We have talked about how there are other communities that are doing deer calling. And I know Worthington right now is actively calling deer. They're doing it in a way that involves the city. It involves, first, getting a petition or getting information out there so that it can be, the entire city can be informed. The deer calling would involve bringing in sharpshooters who are professionals. They would do it at a very scheduled time, and they would, have a number of deer that they would be committed to take out. They would do it in such a way that's very humane. One of the concerns we have with this bow hunter is that unless he gets the shot exactly right, a very wounded deer would be running around Clintonville, which is more probable than not. So with sharpshooters coming in and being able to make a clean kill and do a number all at once and maybe more than once, the only thing that I would do, I would agree to that. As much as I don't like hunting personally, but I would agree to that if we need to call the deer. And I would just be happy to not be home those days because I don't want to see it. But I think that is a solution that's much better than somebody sitting in a tree with a bow who we don't even know what his skill level is, and taking out one or two here or there, then probably ending up with just a wounded deer running around our neighborhood.
So would you petition the mayor to do that? Because he's on record saying he wouldn't do calling.
He would not in Columbus. I'm one battle at a time, So I think the first step is to make sure we have no more rogue hunters in the city of Columbus. The next step after that, yeah, we absolutely need to address the deer population the way they have addressed it in other communities surrounding Columbus. And as I said, the Worthington process I think is fair and humane and something to look to. I don't know if I would lead that effort. I think I'm just going to be happy if we just can be done with rogue bow hunters sitting in trees outside of my bedroom window.
Do other commissioners have questions before we move on to the public?
Just one comment regarding calling. There was a year or two ago, there was a big meeting at the rec center here put on by the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And they discussed the issue of deer population and went through a lot of different strategies to try to control that population. One of them was calling, and they said that unless things have changed, that they did calling in, I think, the Youngstown area and some other northeastern Ohio areas, and pretty much came to the conclusion it's a very temporary solution, and that kind of bottom line, it doesn't work long term.
This has come up at multiple meetings, and one success story we've heard about is I think it was Lennon Woods and Sharon Meadows Metro Parks had an was it Sharon Woods? Yeah, I got the names combined. Had an overpopulation of deer, and they did a series.
That's a number of years ago.
Yeah. Other questions or comments from members of the public? Well, thank you for coming. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was one of the people that called Mark because I was concerned about what was going on. He asked me to pass along his phone number to council, and was open to question if they'll have him.
Is this the ODNR person?
Yeah. ODNR person, Mark Williams. He also said there's a head guy who's working with Worthington on their deer program, and that he would his name is Gary Kilmer, and he'd be happy to come speak to the CIC about
love that.
what they're doing. So I have his number.
If you don't mind just forwarding it to me, we'll get them on the agenda. Thank you. Great.
when the law changes, we'll be here to let you know, so we can all celebrate.
Thank you.
Oh, and meanwhile, if anybody is interested in, joining our grassroots effort, we could certainly use the, oh, one last thing. When the city of Columbus does have the hearing to add the sentence to the additional, or to the existing, law, the Kate asked me to get people there in droves. Those were her words, get people there in droves. So I will be working very hard once I have a date to recruit people who will go there and, you know, let the council know that we're championing this change.
Yeah, keep us posted on that. Okay, yo, appreciate it. Did anyone else come to share public comment this evening? All right, going once, going twice. The next meeting of the Clintonville Area Commission will be Thursday, March 6th, same time, same place. Everyone have a safe February, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.